And hi there again, Melanie at Create That's What I Do. And this is the continuation of a day in the life. So I wash the dishes because I'm going to cook. And basically, there's a little tiny bit of counter space, but I have a buffet. I got this at the furniture bank, free, when I moved here. Thank God. God bless them. So I chose to get this because I knew I would saw the apartment. I knew I'd need some more uh, workable space, right? But it can be maneuvered a different type of way. So this is about the extent of my counter space right there. And I'll get more into that, but that's it, right? That's the extent of my counter space right there. So this is what I primarily use, I mainly use to prepare my food. Okay, that's mainly what I use. It's this type of uh, top, but I have some other options I've kind of figured out to say, oh, well, I could do this or I could do that, to make that, work. Because there's an extra counter space where the stove is on, which works fine for me. I'm happy with the tiny space living. I'm not here going, oh, I don't like it. I like it. I'm just kind of with the kitchen space. I don't need a lot of kitchen space at all. I found out that I prefer the space to be smaller actually than bigger for the kitchen area because I have struggles there that are, it's always been a bit of struggle on the kitchen thing for me. So I noticed that from myself, obviously, that this works way more for me than it doesn't, right? It's just easier on me than trying to keep up on a big space mentally. All right, so I have a little bowl here. I usually keep my bananas in there, but what I'm going to do is get some eggs. Okay. Got the three eggs, because I want to make something, right? So those are the three eggs. I got some cheese. I think it needs to be more like this. Okay, I'm just going to break off the cheese. Right, little cheese. I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the fridge. Alright, I'm going to grab a small plate. And I need my grater, and where is the grater? Alright, let me find my grater. I'm going to pause this. Alright, found it. Okay, so, yeah. Is that better? Not really. Okay. So you see I have my lamp on my little counter space. Very rarely do I even move that lamp. Very rarely, right? But I do have a shelf, a bookcase that's right next to this buffet that I use, and another surface that's right next to this buffet that I use, right, for more space. So there goes the cheese. Okay. There's the cheese. And let's come in a little bit. So I'm making the cheese because I want to make an omelet, right? And I'm not a great omelet maker, but just to give you an idea of how I work within the space, right? So if you're on a tight budget, Dollarama ain't Dollarama quite anymore. They still have things for $1, but it's gone up. It has definitely gone up. They have different prices, right? So I bought this at the Dollarama. I bought the plate at the Dollarama. I bought the food at the Dollarama. I bought this at the Dollarama. This is granite, I think is what this is. And that's what I bought. Okay, so there's the eggs. Let's zoom a little bit. Okay, so that's pretty much what I have there. That's it. I don't even have to use this, right? I can just use the bowl. I'm gonna put this in the sink. And I think I want some things in my eggs and my cheese. So I'm gonna get some cilantro because I like cilantro. And here comes the cilantro. Okay? Kind of a little bit on the dark side, but the lighting, but that's, you know, they come with it. So I'm gonna wash this cilantro, and then I'm going to cut up the cilantro. Okay. Yeah, I think so. I'm no great chopper of vegetables or anything, so, you know, I'm no chef. But this way, let's cut up the cilantro. So before, you know, when I had a bigger kitchen, this kind of cuckoo stuff that happens with me. I'd be like, oh, let me put the cilantro in a different plate. Let me put the cheese in a different plate. I'm like, nah, let me just put the cilantro right there next to the cheese, right? That's what I'm doing. And that's pretty much it. Okay. That's pretty much the extent of that. This cilantro going back in the fridge because that's the counter space right there. Alright, so that's the counter space right there. That's the thing about, I think, with before when I had a large counter in my old apartment many years ago, I would, you know, just everything out on the counter. Sometimes that still happens, you know. I'm chopping up a bunch of vegetables and I'm just moving the things to the counter. But I noticed over the years I'm just getting way more efficient with this. Like, nope, you finished chopping the cilantro, don't leave it on top of the surface space. Just go ahead and put it away. I'm done, put it away. But when I'm cooking something a little bit more elaborate, I notice I have a tendency to do that. But with the, sorry about that, but with the, about bumping the camera. But with time, you know, I'm just getting more efficient about it. I'm like, when I finish doing using the item, like a little piece of shell got in there. When I'm finished using the item, I try to put it up. Just put it away. And after I used the item, and I noticed that with time, I'm just doing that more and more naturally. Right? I made a decision. I think about it, but I'm like, it's just getting more naturally the case. Whereas before I'd be like, okay, the eggshell's there, this is there, that's all there, leave it on the counter, and then do the cleanup all after, I start the cooking of what's on the counter. Now I'm more like, nah, just get it off the little surface space right away. Don't leave the eggshells on there. I still do that, but it's not as much as I used to. Right, I still use quite a bit of things to do, anything. But it's like, yeah, just with time, I'm getting more efficient with how I use the space. And I think that's the thing about tiny spaces is the efficiency. They used to call these kind of places, back in the day in San Francisco, I used to live, they used to call it an efficiency. So you might have a small kitchenette, a burner, a tiny bar fridge, and they used to call them efficiencies. They weren't called studios. They weren't called bachelors. These room type places that they had, they were called efficiencies. So you might have a 2-burner, half a fridge, or not. They didn't qualify per se as a studio. Just a little bit of sea salt. If you had, a 2-burner, maybe half a fridge or something like that, and they were called efficiencies. They were actually listed as that. I don't know what they say now. I haven't lived in San Francisco, California for decades, and I don't know. So I put a little garlic powder in there because I want some garlic powder. And my buffet has food, and it has pots and pans, and my blender, and some oil, and things like that. Like I said, I'm no chef. It's just how it works for me. So you see, I put out this. I'm putting that back right away. And videotaping really helps to stay efficient with that too. Okay. So there go my omelet, and now I'm going to get the frying pan, because that's in the buffet. And ta-da, it's a work of beauty. This surface is absolutely lovely. Cleans beautifully. It's pretty much brand new. Okay, so I'm going to get started with the omelet. Alright, in here is where I have like some of the utensils and foil and these all-purpose cloths and instructions for my induction stove, which I think is pretty amazing so far. I'm brand new to this. Right, so I'm putting that on, and I'm going to get a little tiny bit of oil. Okay. And that's going to go in my pot. Just a little bit. And let me move this over. Okay, I hope that the view, the angle isn't all that fantastic or anything, but so I just got this. I hope everything goes well with the stove. I don't know, it's the first thing I've ever had, but it's very interesting. It's a very interesting concept, right, as a portable stove. And it's not electric it's induction. That is different. There go my chicken underneath there that I'm defrosting. And putting the oil back. And yeah, that's it. So with the induction, they said don't have your pot on its own. Put the food in. So I'm gonna turn it on. Okay, I'm gonna turn this down. Because one thing I do, they said it takes practice, really, learning how to cook in these kind of things. Because the food cooks very quickly. I mean, very fast. It's really energy efficient. I have to say that. Like, I'm like, wow, this food cooks really fast. I mean, it cooks really fast. And they said it on the pamphlet that you gotta learn how to cook on these things because the food cooks really fast. And I'm like, okay, we'll see. Yup, they was right on the little pamphlet that comes with the stove. It cooks really fast, and you need the correct pots. You need a pot, a pan that says induction cooking on there. Or your stove won't work. It literally won't work. It'll just be hot. And I got a little bit too much oil in there, but oh well. I'm okay for greasy eggs. Sometimes I try to, go, oh wait, it's too much grease. But, if it's greasy, it's greasy. I got some paper towel if it gets too greasy. Maybe I'll pat it down if I feel it's too greasy for me. And here go my happy spatula. And I'm just wiping up the counter behind there. I just turn, I take a half a step, or two, maybe one full step, and I'm at the oven. I'm at the stove in my convection oven. Toaster. See you there. Okay. So with this, I'm going to grab 2 pieces of toast. Bread. And I treated myself to some multigrain bread. I noticed the other bread seemed really light, and it's lacking a lot of nutrition. It says wheat. It's more inexpensive bread, but the bread feel like it's lacking to me. It's not heavy like you would want wheat to be, or flour. It's like it's probably got a lot of fillers or something in the bread. This feels a little bit more authentic to bread to me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I just plugged in my convection oven, okay? And I got that on pretty much on low, but I think I could go to 3. So I'm gonna go to 3. So I'm learning how to work with this convection oven thing. And I probably don't need any oil with that pan either. But I'm still a little bit like, well, we'll see. And I'm going to take my 2 pieces and put that there. Okay. And that's going to go with my, sorry, just a little bit on the crooked side with the way it's holding. So that's gonna go onto my with my omelet, and then I'm going to probably make, well, I think I'm okay for my protein intake. Yes, that's 3 eggs for the morning. This is my it's afternoon, but it's the morning. So yeah, I'll pause it until I get the rest of this going, and I'll see if this coming up yet. You see how the center is already starting to look like I want to cook for the eggs. So I'm just going to go ahead. And if this becomes scrambled eggs, I'm okay with that too. It's one of the things about omelets I decided a long time ago. If it get into the scrambled egg, because if it doesn't come up cool, then I'm just like, okay, scrambled eggs instead of an omelet. Not quite scrambled, but close enough for me anyway. So that's it. And there you have it. There's not a whole lot of space necessary for the meal. Because after all, it's breakfast. And that's what I've learned mainly, is that in the small space cooking, with a small surface, if you just put things back, if I just put things back after I use it, after I'm using it in the preparation of the meal, life is just tremendously easier. The space is just like clear. But I do have a shelf right here that you can't see. I do have a shelf. And this shelf, when I need extra space, I just move these things up here, or I even put some of the things right there, right around the space, and that works too. Like I just got an extra space right there for when I need extra space. Before, what I would do is, some of the time, is I would move this to the bottom area on top of the convection oven, toaster convection oven. I would move that, and then I would use this whole counter space here. But now I'm like, well, I got enough surface area right in the kitchen to really, make it work. The wonderful thing about the buffet is I'm 5'9", so it's high enough. Whereas everything else that's lower, I have to stoop a bit. I have to bend to get wash the dishes. Or for this counter, I'm bending a little in my lower back to my top back or my upper back to make it comfortable. But what's nice about the buffet is that it's a good height. It works more for me. So this is a day in my life, and the meal preparation part is pretty big for me. Maybe for some people it's like usual and habit, but for me it's like, okay, before I got up, I'm like, what am I gonna make? I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. What am I gonna do? The dishes first? It's all kind of going on sort of in the background, in the front of my mind. Or am I gonna cook first and then add the dishes? No, I usually wash the dishes first. Let me wash the dishes. And then you would think after all these years that would not be happening. And once in a while, in my mind, once in a while it does it. But most of the time it does. Most of the time. Let's see if I can get this omelet to flip. Another thing I like is my omelets. I like them real brown. I like my scrambled eggs real brown. Well done. So the fact that it has that brown, I'm fine with that. That's how I like it. Now can I... Woo! Baby! It's always like omelets. Woo! Did it. It's never different. It's always like that with the omelet. Like, oh my God, is it gonna flip without me breaking the omelet? Breaking up the omelet? I don't be able to do it. So I just washed this a little bit, rinsed it off, but I was like, why? Just go ahead and grab the plate. all I had was cheese and cilantro on it. Like, hey, come on. And I think the omelet's gonna fit just fine, right? So that's pretty much uh, Chef Melanie, baby. Chef Melanie. Hardly. There you go. Chef Melanie. So yeah, I got my plate, and I got these ones at Dollarama, and I really think I need one more plate. I got a few of them and the bigger plate, but I'm thinking it's not on, it's so far on my list at this point because I live by myself happily. Okay, happily so. I personally think it's one of the best things going. Living by yourself, me personally, but I mean, living with your children is good too, and all that wonderfulness. But I'm like, it's my time to just live, you know, without all of that other responsibilities and compromises. And there's joys and happiness in that, but I can cook when I want to cook. I can clean up when I want to clean up. I can wake up when I want to wake up, but in the morning or in the afternoon, I'm not beholden to anyone but myself, and it's a very beautiful thing. And I have no desire for a relationship at all, none, zero. It's one of the best things going. I absolutely love this, and I know everybody ain't for everything ain't for everybody, and there's different seasons in people's lives. Okay, but this one is the best thing going. One of the things I was looking at, and you see what happens is a fan blows with the induction oven. This induction oven, these I guess you could call these portable. There's a fan that comes on with blows. And the other thing the induction oven will do is it will automatically turn off. So if you forget to turn it off, it will turn off itself. Beautiful. Smart. I like that technology. Okay? Because I've done that through the years so many times. I've even gone to work and came home and the oven was on and the stove was on. I was like, oh my God, this was an electric stove. Rushing to go to work, go commute, you know, and I really love that it has I didn't put it in the sink, I just put it on my shelf. I really love that it has the automatic turn off, the stove. I think that's brilliant. It will just automatically turn off if it's not in use. If you remove the pot, it will beep at you that the pot is missing. One of the things it said is do not cook with nothing in the pan. You gotta get the food in there or the water. So it's been an amazing adventure for me getting this, and I'm like, maybe I should have done this years ago. Just maybe. And I can clean it. The other burners, the burner portion didn't come up properly. Cleaning it was so horrendous. I was like between little toothbrushes and Q-tips, and this has been a joy so far. Total joy. Just wipe it off, and I can properly clean my stove, and it got that sleek modern look, even though that's just a little bit of some of the things I like. I like the old and I like the new, so it's kind of like, yeah, well, look all right for the little kitchenette area. Another thing I did, and I haven't been able to find these again, and I really wish I could find something like this is like the stainless steel peel and stick, and I've had to super glue them. I've had to hot glue them because of the steam or the heat. But and one of them kind of sank down a little bit. I usually put my cutting board there, and it's been a beautiful thing instead of trying to get grease off of a wall. Okay? or food stains or anything else, you know. And it camouflage a whole lot of like, well, if I didn't get all the grease, you can't tell. You just have to be looking at a particular angle. And, you know, I just collected them little by little by little. What happened? The Dollarama, I thought I was going to do the whole top part. The Dollarama, I didn't see them again. They never showed up again, ever. So this has been many years I had that up. But that's one of my pet peeves of any place I've ever lived. Who the heck gets a stove and an oven and a kitchen and there's no backsplash behind the stove or by the sides of the wall? You just have the plain wall there and you cooking. And you just have the plain wall there. And inevitably, no matter what you do, you're going to have grease. You're going to have something on there. And you're, you know, and you're going to the paint, you know, constantly cleaning paint, a painted wall. I don't know why the folks don't change that. I just don't understand that at all. Okay, I really don't. It doesn't make sense to me. You should have some tile or some kind of way to clean right around. You know, in 2026, you're not talking about. I think back in some ancient, some historic times, they were putting tile behind these things. Then with this more modern time, these folks stop putting tile or something around the stove and oven. You know, they just cheap. Honest to God, they just cheap. Oh, let's hurry up and put a development house down and, you know, let them deal with some painted wall for their kitchen area where their stove and oven is. Huh? What? Make that make sense. And eventually you're going to scrape off that, even if it's a satin. I think maybe you'd be better off with a semi-gloss if you have a painted wall. If the fumes, if it's not flammable, is that flammable? I don't know if it's gas, or maybe that's a possibility. Yeah, maybe. I just, and butter is a treat. So I use margarine. Butter is so expensive in Toronto, it's ridiculous. And butter was always a treat for me, even in the United States. You know, hey, that's how it is. So, yep. All right, I'm going off to enjoy my food. I'm sure you don't want to see me eating. Or do you? Bye for now. God bless. May the universe give you all the wellness. You know, Assalamu alaikum, namaste. God bless you. I know a bunch of them. All right. Bye for now.